Venus passes between the Earth and the Sun roughly once every 100 years. Halley's Comet flies by roughly every 75 years. The Minnesota Vikings win a Super Bowl. I'm sorry, am I pandering to a Wisconsin crowd? All rare events, but I think last summer I encountered what may be the rarest event of all. It started in a simple email from a grandmother about her 3-year-old grandson and a special relationship that he had formed with an elderly man who lived next door. I've been in this business, the reporting business, for more than 30 years. I've worked at a number of television stations. And I can tell you that 99 out of 100 times that email would be read and discarded. But it was 4th of July week. I had the end of the week off and I needed to turn a story quickly, and it was a close drive and a quick turn, and I connected with my favorite photographer, Jonathan Malott, and we drove to Farmington, Minnesota, where we encountered this.
Emmett Richner is 3, going on 4, and for no particular reason, he is driving with his eyes closed, which would not appear to be going particularly well. Fortunately, Emmett has a mentor.
I got a bagger that fits on the back.
Erling Kindom is 89, going on 90.
What's this?
And this has been going on
Ready, set, go!
for nearly a year. Emmett's parents had to laugh
He blocked me out.
the first time they saw their preschooler racing a man who fought in the Second World War.
I told you he was fast.
I'm super fast. You want to play croquet?
Which stick are you going to have?
The man they'd waved to, but barely knew,
What's this, Erling?
from the house
Oh, right through.
next door.
Boom!
They're together pretty much every day.
Did you find a worm?
Nope, it's a bug.
Emmett first crossed into Erling's yard when he caught a glimpse
See these yellow flowers?
of his favorite food.
These are going to be tomatoes.
Every time he saw me out there, he would come running over. Erling, got any tomatoes?
Can you throw a baseball with me?
Every day,
Erling can't see so good.
a new adventure.
Oops.
We saw Erling over working on this bike that looked like it was from the 60s. And I thought, there's no way he's going to get on this bike. And he did. It took him a couple times to get on his bike, and I thought, am I going to have to call 911? Please don't fall over.
Anika Richner wondered if so warm a friendship
You want to play Star Wars with these?
would survive the winter.
One day I looked out the window and I took this picture because it was just so cute. He was snow blowing a path from his back door straight to our back door so they could visit. Yep.
You know what this is from? It's from Erling.
Where's the fish pole?
He likes to show him things and draw him pictures and explain.
So I can learn about how fishing works.
He's just taught him so much.
Which is why those tears have been coming more often.
We decided back a month ago to move.
Brian Richner says their growing family simply needs more space.
I love him.
It is the hardest part about moving.
Yeah, it's tough.
And change
It's tough.
is coming for Erling, too.
Yeah. When you think about it.
Soon he'll be 90.
Yeah.
His wife is ill. And just days ago, Erling's kids finally convinced him it's time to trade his house and yard for a senior apartment.
Erling, come over here.
Till moving trucks roll,
I can hear you.
goodbye will have to wait.
Put a washer on.
This January-December friendship still has a bittersweet July.
Just do it by hand slow first.
There's no replacement for Erling. We won't find a neighbor like him.
So you put the washer on first?
That's right.
Sounds like it's tight.
So that story aired in our 10 p.m. newscast the following Sunday night. I was sitting in my family room with my wife Sherry. My cell phone was sitting on the coffee table, and I started hearing pinging and more pinging. And I looked, and it was tweets. And over the next few hours, the story was shared thousands of times on Facebook. And a day or two later, we got a call from NBC Nightly News. And then Brian Williams introduced Emmett and Erling to the entire country. And then HLN and BuzzFeed and Huffington Post and Drudge Report and hundreds of other websites shared the story too. And if you Google Emmett and Erling today, you'll find 65,000 references to the friendship of Emmett and Erling. My son, at one point, at the height of this phenomenon, sent me a text message and said, "Dad, I think you broke the internet." Said, "I keep seeing your story on my Facebook feed. I've read hundreds of comments, none of them negative." Maybe we had broken the internet. But why? Why this story? There's an industry website called TV Spy that a lot of people in my business read, and they published an article after this story aired, and they called it "The Story Viewers Loved, but Your Television Station Almost Certainly Wouldn't Have Done." And the writer, Mark Joella, imagined a news meeting in a typical newsroom. Everyone gathered around a conference table, people pitching ideas when someone mentions the story of the 3-year-old boy and the old man next door, almost 90 years old, and the friendships that's developed between them. Crickets. Are you kidding? That's your story pitch? Have you lost your mind? Wait, the old man's a predator, right? No? Just a sweet little story. So why did it work? Why did it connect with people? The photographer who shot the story, Jonathan Malott, well, he thinks it has something to do with relationships that we've all had in our past, perhaps as children with a grandfather or a special uncle or a neighbor down the street. Maybe. I talked to Anika Richner, Emmett's mom, after the story aired, and she thinks it's just people are hungry right now for something positive. There's just not a lot of good news in the world. Maybe that's it. Maybe that helps explain why it connected with people. But what does this phenomenon say for the future of journalism? And for people like me who work in journalism? You have to understand, since the beginning of television news, we've been measured by one standard of success: ratings. If a newscast does well, the station makes money, we all get paid, and everyone's happy. But there was a flaw in the system. I can't have a conversation with a ratings point. I can't listen in and hear what a ratings point is saying about my story the next day at work to its friends. But I can do that on Facebook. I can see what people are saying and how they're interacting. So suddenly we have a new standard by which we can judge success. And people were sharing this story on Facebook in such numbers that at the height of this phenomenon, 80% of our video views on KARE11.com were Emmett and Erling's story. So think about that. We post dozens, if not hundreds of stories on KARE11.com every day. And 80% of our video traffic was this one story. So that's our new standard of success. There are pitfalls. Boy, are there ever pitfalls. Because if we start choosing our stories based on what's going to make the next viral video, we'll get Emmett and Erling in a freak show of car crashes and Kardashians. So we still have to make good journalistic decisions, just as we always have. The New York Times earns its audience by those decisions. The National Enquirer earns its audience by those decisions. And we earn our audience too, by the decisions that we make. But what's changed is we're now getting to the heart and minds of our viewers, right? They're helping make the decisions. They now have a seat at the table where those decisions are being made based on the stories that they're connecting to. And because we were listening to those viewers and the things that they were saying, by the thousands, because we were listening, we figured they might be ready for another trip back to visit our friends. And that happened a few weeks later when Erling paid his first visit to Emmett at his new home in the country. And let you take a little look at how that went down.
Fortunately,
Off we go.
the prescription for lonely
Yeah.
is just 16 miles away.
When Erling comes, do you know what he's gonna bring?
Maybe a big tomato.
There's that little tyke.
It's like no time has gone by.
What is this?
They didn't miss a beat.
What is this? Wait a minute, don't break them.
First Erling and Emmett playdate is on.
Oh, this is real neat, Emmett. Look at this. Oh, you've got a nice view. Pretty soon the farmer's going to come and going to cut that corn down. They got to feed the animals.
One with so much to teach.
Why do you step down kind of slow?
The other hungry to learn.
There's a battery.
Why you need like batteries for your ear motor?
Is it any wonder on moving day neither wanted to let go?
It was good while it lasted, you know.
A few days from now,
It isn't over.
Erling will be moving too.
We'll see you guys.
His relocation with his ailing wife to a senior apartment is also hard.
Almost identical to my mower.
But his adopted dear family is as committed as he is
You want to give me a ride on there?
Oh, I got it.
to keeping the ride going.
I can steer.
You can steer, I can push the pedal.
That story also aired on NBC Nightly News and was then posted on the NBC News Facebook page, where it was shared during the next few days almost 250,000 times and viewed 11 million times. Just for perspective, that's several million times more than the number of viewers who watch any of the network evening newscasts. Therein lies the power of social media. Some of you are old enough, I certainly am, to remember Charles Kuralt. Charles Kuralt was an esteemed reporter for the CBS Evening News. And he traveled the country in an RV to far-flung places of the United States, where he introduced his viewers to people like Alex and Mary Chandler. The Chandlers raised 9 children, dirt poor, in a sharecropper's cabin in Mississippi. And Charles Kuralt joined the family for one special Thanksgiving when all 9 of those children came back with college degrees in law and medicine and other professions, and they broke bread with their families. I remember that story vividly, 30 years after I saw it. That's the power of good stories. I have a feeling Charles Kuralt would have loved social media because it rewards good stories. It rewards quality. And yeah, it rewards some crap too. But I'll take the good with the bad. Because 10 years ago, a story like Emmett's and Erling's would have aired one time on KARE 11 News in Minneapolis, and it would have been retired to a tape archive and never seen again. But now it lives. It lives as a great example of the best that humanity has to offer. And a great example of what can happen when we step out of our backyards, literally and figuratively, and form a relationship with someone we don't now know. And so I received an email a few weeks ago from Anika, Emmett's mom, and she said, Erling's birthday party is tomorrow. He's turning 90 years old. Would you like to come? And I said, absolutely, I'd like to come. Could I bring my wife? And she said, yes. And I said, we'll be there. And then I thought about it for a little bit, and then I wrote her back, and I said, would you mind if I leave my wife at home and bring my photographer? Because I was afraid. I was afraid something special might happen, and I wouldn't have someone there to record it. So I brought my photographer. And when you get these two together, the likelihood that something special might happen is pretty high.
Erling, happy birthday.
A 90th birthday
Erling!
is cause for celebration.
Does he like cake?
Yeah, I do.
Is the Pope Catholic? Yes.
It is very special.
But Emmett's parents have made sure the visits have also continued
But I think I'd beat you in a race.
on the ordinary days.
I can do it way faster.
Erling's wife Joyce knows too.
He misses Emmett.
Erling, I have some gifts.
The boys still need
Wow.
each other.
We used to call these dog tags in the Army Emmett and Erling. Friends forever.
When a friendship has bridged nearly 9 decades and 2 moves,
Happy birthday.
consider it true.
Cha-cha-cha. Ooh la la.
Left and right,
You come back again.
just a formality.
I will eventually.
When your heart tells you
I will eventually.
what to do.
Happy birthday, Erling.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have some special guests with us today. Emmett, his little sister Bergen, his mom Anika, and Brian Richner. Would you stand up, please? I think that's the first time I've ever seen a shy Emmett. Erling couldn't be with us today. The drive is a little bit taxing, but his health is good, and we'll make sure that he sees this and feels your love too. Richner family, thank you for sharing this story with all of us and enriching your lives. From the humblest of beginnings, a phenomenon was born, and it's been such an honor and a pleasure to be part of it. Thank you.